Hello there. This is Heirs to the Kingdom channel, and today's lesson we're doing chapters 14 and 15 of the book of Leviticus. If you're new to this, it's a Bible study channel going through the King James Bible, not skipping anything as scriptures command. So if you would, like, subscribe, and share this content. And we're going to go ahead and get started here. And so, like I said, if you're new, I read through the scriptures, talk about things, explain certain words. I go through the King James Bible because I know God approves of that version. And I've read other versions which changes the meanings of lessons, and not in a good way. So I stick with the Bible I know God approves of. Why? Because God blessed the building of America, and the people that built America followed the King James Bible. So I stick with this. You always stick with what works. And that's a man's philosophy. And last we left off, in chapter 13 was the introduction of the rules of people with leprosy. 14 is also continuing from 13 of leprosy rules and the speaking thereof of the leprosy. Like I always said before, in today's time we have medication to prevent this stuff, which is grand. They did not have medication to fight that disease. Leprosy still exists in the world. In other nations, especially the Middle East areas, leprosy is still a thing, but we have medications now, even being available to them to cure it. So happy, joy with that. I'm always talking about, life's hard enough as it is. We don't need added problems. But the one thing is, the problems are here, and we must deal with them. All these things were added onto the earth. Some things mutated while on the earth. We have diseases today that mutate. COVID is still around, but it has mutated, and they say every time it mutates, it gets weaker. So now you can have COVID, and it's no big deal. Unless you are severely unhealthy, and, it may affect you in a negative way, but for a lot of people, it's pretty much almost just like the common cold. So, this has been happening on the earth for thousands of years. We even hardly heard scripture parts talking about certain birds and their kinds, because God knows that the birds are going to, interbreed. Just like people, we interbreed. And you have mixed race people. This is natural. There's nothing wrong with this. Scripture says so. Moses, an Israelite, was married to an Ethiopian woman. That was his wife, and had children with her. God never speaks ill of interracial relationships. But he does speak ill of societies that are intertwined with people of different beliefs. That never works. God says if you want to live in peace, you must be with like-minded people that believe the same. Christians and Muslims can never live in the same area. Buddhist and Hindu, not really that much of a problem, but they can still cause problems because their beliefs are different than Christians. And then everybody wants the rules of their society to focus around what they believe. And that's where you start having a problem. One will start degrading the other. So anyways, go ahead and get started in this lesson, because we got 20. Normally my readings are like 16, 17 pages of reading. Today is going to be about 23. So even chapter 14's got 50-something verses, like chapter 13. But chapter 13 was, kind of in-depth reading, and it took over 20-something minutes to read chapter 13. And chapter 15's got 30-something verses. So, but I want to kind of stick with my 2-chapter system, but 13 was just too long for that. So, I'll go ahead and get started into the reading here, and hopefully it's pretty straightforward. I've read through the Bible many times, but does not mean I don't have that photographic memory, total recall memory like, Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro. There's a lot of other people out there that has that total recall memory. They can remember things like no end. They can always say, boom, here it is, boom, here it is, boom, here. Me, I'm like, it'll be 2 days after a conversation, then I remember a word, I'm dyslexic, so I've had to learn to live with it. And that's just the way it is. That's why I do this Bible study this way. I read it aloud. It helps me learn better. But yeah, I'm never going to be able to be that person that quotes, not some things I can, but not everything, chapter, verse, and book, and all this, that, and the other, where everything is. So anyway, let's get into this reading, chapter 14, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest. And the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper, then shall the priest command to take for him this to be cleansed, 2 birds alive and clean, and cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthly vessel over running water. So at this point, if there's a leper that are cast out of the city, they have to live outside. They can't be with everyone else because they're contagious. That's why, if they say, hey, I think I'm being healed, the priest has to go to them and look at them there. They cannot bring him into with the people. 6. As for the living bird, he shall take it and the cedar wood and the scarlet and the hyssop, and shall dip them in the living bird. Dip them and the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field. And he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, and shave off all his hair, and wash himself in water, that he may be clean. And after that he shall come into the camp, and shall tarry abroad out of his tent 7 days. So here you hear talking about shaving the beard, shaving all hair, head on hair, hair on head, dyslexia, beard and everything else. So some people sit there and say, the scriptures, pretty much command men to have beards. And no, it does not. That's just something that men grow, but it never says you have to have one. But if you want one, fine and dandy, but you don't want it in your way. If it interferes with life and this, that, and the other, you should take measures to deal with that. Verse 9. But it shall be on the 7th day that he shall shave all his hair off his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair he shall shave off, and he shall wash his clothes also. He shall wash his flesh in water, and he shall be clean. So even after the 7th day, he's to shave all the hair off his body again. Verse 10. And on the 8th day he shall take 2 he-lambs without blemish, and 1 ewe-lamb, which is female, of the first year without blemish, and 3/10 deals of fine flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. And the priest that maketh him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean, and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall take 1 he-lamb, and offer him for a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And he shall slay the lamb in the place where he shall kill the sin offering, and the burnt offering in the holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest, so is the trespass offering, it is most holy. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall take some of the log of oil and pour it into the palm of his own left hand. And the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle of the oil with his finger 7 times before the Lord. And of the rest of the oil that is in his hand shall the priest put upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, upon the blood of the trespass offering. Aren't we so glad we don't have to do all this stuff anymore? It's just, like I said before, there's no way I'd be remembering this stuff. Way too many details. 18. And the remnant of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall pour upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, and the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord. And the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. And afterward he shall kill the burnt offering, and the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean. And if he be poor, and cannot get so much, that he shall take 1 lamb for a trespass offering to be waved, to make an atonement for him, and 1/10 deal of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, and a log of oil. And 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to get, and the one shall be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. And he shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall pour of the oil into the palm of his own left hand, and the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put of the oil that is in his hand upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, upon the place of the blood of the trespass offering. Gotta take deep breaths to make these readings. Yeah, I don't think I ever really understood, before I started this channel, of how much air it took, how deep a breath you had to take to do a lot of these readings. Just how much air it took to actually read aloud. But anyways, continue on here, 29. And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, to make an atonement for him before the Lord. And he shall offer the one of the turtle doves or of the young pigeons, such as he can get, even such as he is able to get, the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, with the meat offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed before the Lord. This is the law of him in whom is the plague of leprosy, whose hand is not able to get that which pertaineth to his cleansing. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When ye be come into the land of Canaan, which I give to you for a possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in a house of the land of your possession, and he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, It seemeth to me that there is, as it were, a plague in the house. And the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest go into it to see the plague, that all that is in the house be not made unclean. and afterward the priest shall go in to see the house. Yeah, so this plague can be anywhere. It's a bacteria, it's a flesh-eating bacteria, and it can live on a lot of surfaces, especially cool, moist areas. Verse 37. And he shall look on the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house, with hollow strakes, greenish or reddish, which in sight are lower than the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house, and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into an unclean place without the city. And he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, scrapped. And they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off without the city into an unclean place. Sorry, it is scraped. I'm sorry. I thought it was scrapped. But anyways, it possibly, it is scraped. I don't know why. It's like, anyways, moving on. We get the idea. You're going to dismantle the house and get rid of it. Mostly you want to put that out in sunlight and let the sun purify it. Though the sunlight will destroy most bacteria. If they have nothing to feed off of and live, they just die in the sun, just like everything else. Let's continue on. 42. And they shall take other stones and put them in the place of those stones, and he shall take other mortar and shall plaster the house. Now, of course, they don't dismantle the whole house. They just take that section off and then replace it. That's what they're saying here. Verse 43. And if the plague come again and break out in the house after that he hath taken away the stones, and after he hath scraped the house, and after it is plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house, it is unclean. And he shall break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house, and he shall carry them forth out of the city into an unclean place. Now, this unclean place is also the place they take their bathroom stuff. They have no indoor plumbing. They have no toilets. They have certain ways that they use the bathroom, and then they take it outside the city and leave it there. And some civilizations, they would go outside the city and have, we kind of saw it in The Walking Dead. They had the one people, they went out and they had this ditch area and stuff they would use the bathroom at. And so it was outside away from the people. That's also an unclean place. And so probably take stuff there and just toss it in there with the rest of the crapola. Let's continue on. 46. Moreover, he that goeth into the house all the while that it is shut up shall be unclean until the even. And he that lieth in the house shall wash his clothes, and he that eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. And if the priest shall come in and look upon it, and behold, the plague hath not spread in the house after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. Me personally, I would sit there and go, nah, just no, don't even want to take the risk. Like, some of it in there, I'll just make another house, tear it down. We want to tear it down and get rid of it all. Section. We ain't going to sit there and wait. Just go ahead and fix the whole problem. That's just the way I would do things. But it took a lot to build a house, because you had to make the brick by hand, and the mortar would be, certain things mixed in with sand and water and everything else to put the bricks together. And the plaster would also be more mortar just spread over it and rubbed over it, normally by hand, because they didn't have all the tools we have today. And it just helped seal up the walls. Then when the rain would come, it would help, seal up even more. But they would plaster inside, outside, blah, 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 and just pretty much sealing up the house, but it'll be made out of solid brick. Continue on 49. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And he shall kill one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water, and he shall take the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird, and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the scarlet. And he shall let go the living bird out of the city into the open fields, and make an atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. A lot of rules with this. This is the law for all manner of plague of leprosy and scall, and for the leprosy of a garment, and of a house, and for a rising, and for a scab, and for a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean, and when it is clean. This is the law of leprosy. Now, this is one of these specific Israelite laws, but this would help all humanity dealing with leprosy at this time. But the sacrifices for it, we're not under that. No more blood sacrifices for this, that, and the other. But same thing today. If we got somebody that's very sick, they get quarantined, especially if they're highly contagious with something deadly. They get quarantined. So we still practice some of this stuff today, but in a different way. So anyways, continue on here. Chapter 15. And I got 8 minutes to try to stay under the 30-minute mark. So hopefully I don't read too fast, but as I said, we got 33 verses here. Verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean. So here's like open wound, fester, pus, blah, 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 that and the other. As I said, in these times they didn't have antibiotics or anything else, so anything that could possibly be contagious or, have stuff that could morph into something else. It's just, it's better to keep them separate from the people. That way you don't spread anything. It helps you have a very healthy society living this way. Like I said, we still kind of do stuff like this today. We use bandages, Neosporin, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, peroxide, alcohol. Verse 3. And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue. It is his uncleanness. Every bed whereon he lieth, that he hath the issue, is unclean, and everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean. Same thing today. We wash clothes in certain detergents that were worn and got, stuff on. Bandages, we don't reuse them, throw them away. We use stuff that's sterilized, blah, blah, blah. So, as I said, a lot of this stuff we still do today, just in different ways. Verse 5. And whosoever toucheth his bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And he that sitteth on anything whereon he sat, that hath the issue, shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And if he that hath the issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And what saddle soever he rideth upon that hath the issue shall be unclean. Now, the spit normally is like when you talk to somebody, it kind of happens. It ain't saying that he, acted like a camel or, a llama or something like that and instantly done it to get them away from him. It's not really speaking of that. That would be highly disrespectful, and he'd probably be whipped badly for that. That would be just intolerable. Even today's society, that's intolerable. It's now classified as assault, and you get arrested for it. Verse 10. And whosoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean until the even. And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue, and hath not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. It's getting real easy to read that part really fast, because it's the same thing. Continue on, 12. And the vessel of earth that he touches with hath the issue shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed with water. And when he that hath an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be clean. So you have the running water machine, which means you go to a stream. Another way of doing it is having water poured over you. Bathe yourself in water means you're sitting in a tub, soaking in water, clean yourself off, this, that, and the other, then the water's dumped. Running water is when the water's poured over you, or you get into a river or stream where the water's going over you and going away, going into the earth somewhere else. You know, you don't bathe in it, you're not sitting in it. Verse 14. And on the 8th day he shall take to him 2 turtle doves and 2 young pigeons, and come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them unto the priest. And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord for his issue. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until the even. And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water, and be unclean until the even. Now, of course, that's reproducing, you know, the stain on the mattress type thing. So, of course, the person here is the woman. And, of course, you know, anything bedding-wise and stuff of that nature. You know, you get the idea. I don't have to go into too much detail of that. But 18. The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water, and be unclean until the even. And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, of course we know this to mean the monthly cycle, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the even. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And whosoever toucheth anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And if it be on her bed, or on anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the even. So not only does the cycle normally last a week, they have to stay outside, I think, an extra week. So it's 2 weeks out of the month that she has to do this. So let's continue on here, 24. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation, she shall be unclean. Every bed whereon she lieth all the days of her issue shall be upon her as the bed of her separation, and whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean as the uncleanness of her separation. And whosoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. But if she be cleansed of her issue, that she shall number to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. And on the 8th day she shall take unto her 2 turtles, or 2 young pigeons. Here it is saying turtles only, but it means turtle doves. and bring them unto the priest to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering, and offer for a burnt offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord for the issue of her uncleanness. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they die not in their uncleanness when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him that hath an issue, and of him whose seed goeth from him, and is defiled therewith, and of her that is sick of her flowers, and of him that hath an issue, of the man, and of the woman, and of him that lieth with her that is unclean. Yeah, aren't you so glad we're not under all these things anymore? But yeah, we just barely passed the 30-minute mark, fixing to come up 31 minutes, so it was a little bit longer reading, but I wanted to stick with the two chapters thing, so now we should stay even and finish with 2 chapters. I don't think we have any of them super long anymore like that, so it should be normal reading after this of the time. Probably around 15, 20 minutes, maybe 25. Either or. That's the end of this lesson today. And so, this is still scripture. This is stuff they had to go through, and it's stuff we're no longer under. But some of the stuff we still abide by for health reasons. A lot of times for, the woman's blood issues also after giving birth, and they don't quit bleeding right away. They didn't have any way to do surgery back then. So, normally the woman went someplace else. Also, it was for rest purposes. She could lie there and rest and things heal. Blah, blah, blah. Have more of a chance there the more you rest instead of keep doing stuff causing increased blood flow. Anyway, you get the idea. And so if anybody you know is suffering from anything like this, or other countries still suffer from a lot of stuff like this. Because they don't have medical stuff. They don't have, first aid kits and antibiotic ointments and stuff. These are people you pray for. Pray for yourself, others, lost, found, all nations, all people, all situations. And like I always say, that needs to be remembered every day. Never forget to give God all the praise, glory, and worship, and thanks in everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. So I'm going to head and end this lesson here. Hope all has a good day, and God bless, and goodbye.